Welcome to Money Market, a Bank of Tampa podcast. We highlight the businesses, expert business advice, the local economy, and points of interest in the Tampa Bay market. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And please share this episode with a friend or colleague. I'm your host, Owen LaFave, the Pinellas County Market President for the Bank of Tampa, Tampa Bay's oldest and largest community bank. I'm excited about our guest today. We are joined by the Vice President and Commercial Relationship Manager of the Bank of Tampa's Westshore office, Ashley Waters. Ashley, welcome.
Thank you.
So you're a Tennessee native?
Yes.
From Maryville, you went to Maryville College in East Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Right at the base of the mountains.
What is the closest city to Maryville?
Knoxville.
Okay. All right, so a good-sized city.
Yes.
So you worked as an SBA underwriter at first and then did a stint in special assets, which my condolences, I did one of those too.
So what happens when you graduate in 08.
Well, great learning ground, right?
Absolutely.
Moved into credit underwriting and then into commercial banking. But 2 kids, 2 years with us in our Westshore office. You're a sustaining member of the Junior League.
Yeah.
Ashley, welcome to Money Market.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
So you're a commercial relationship manager, and so in layman's terms, you're a commercial banker.
Yes.
For those that don't understand the relationship manager piece of that.
Right.
Tell us about what you do for the bank. What's your day job? Because we're going to get into your volunteer job.
Sure, absolutely. Well, on paper, as you said, commercial banker. I work with many of our business commercial clients, helping them with any of their banking, financing needs, anything that might arise that they need help with along the way when it comes to those 2 aspects of their business. But in true Bank of Tampa way fashion, we go much deeper than that. I really hold my clients' hand, walk them through as they're growing their business, helping them if they're ready to sell their business, looking at opportunities for them to buy real estate, and just things like that come up along the way, being a little bit of a therapist along the way, as you know, as a banker.
Yes.
And just really being there for them in their time of need or in times of celebration for their business.
Well, we wear many hats, and I think maybe more hats at the Bank of Tampa, and I will give you a lot of credit. So we have a particular way of doing business, and of course, our mission statement is we build relationships, and I think that you have stepped right in and embraced the Bank of Tampa way, and the clients you inherited appreciate it, and the clients you brought in understand the value that you bring to that relationship. So thank you for doing what you do. So we are here to talk about your volunteer job, which is a big job, and you are currently the president of the Westshore Alliance. So tell everybody what the Westshore Alliance is.
So I'm going to take you back about 41 years ago. If you were a developer in Westshore and you wanted to build a building, you had to go to Tallahassee to get approval for that. The Westshore Alliance was created out of that need by developers, real estate experts in the area, saying there needs to be an organization in Westshore that is the master developer for the Westshore District. Westshore District being our south end is Kennedy Boulevard, all the way to Dale Mabry up by Raymond James Stadium is included. Up to
I have questions about this.
I have to include it. And then HCC and the #1 airport in the country, Tampa.
Yes.
So right through there over to about Rocky Point is our district lines.
Okay.
That the Westshore Alliance was created for that district. We still have the same priorities that we did then as far as creating the best mixed-use premier district in the Southeast, but it has evolved a little bit over the years and being more of a networking for business owners in the area, marketing the district and the Tampa Bay community for people and businesses looking to come to this area. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but that's the general sense of what the Westshore Alliance
I
is.
want to talk about the boundaries.
Okay.
So, because Midtown and One Tampa Common.
We have Midtown.
And no. How is, so the boundary is defined. How come it's not more dense than between that section and Raymond James Stadium pushing towards what is kind of Westshore proper?
So you're saying dense in terms of development,
right.
More development
Yes.
there.
To me, that seemed like they just wanted to be included. By the way, Midtown, amazing development. They did a great job with it. One Tampa Commons has been there forever,
right.
Which was just an anomaly of that building kind of sticking out at the corner of Dale Mabry and Kennedy there. But Tell me about that.
So you touched on Midtown.
Yep.
That created more density within our district. There's lots of opportunity for additional density in the district, but we're doing it in such a way that we still have a lot of residents, single-family homes in the district.
Mm-hmm.
We're not trying to push them out. We're trying to create this live, work, play community there. So we're trying to do it in such a way that we can be agreeable to the developers and the real estate professionals in the area that are looking to develop more, create more of a Midtown-esque type of environment.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working on it. And some other things I think we're going to talk about with the Westshore Interchange will help with that.
No, I'm excited to talk about that. We'll get into some of the other initiatives. But kind of thinking about the origin of the Westshore Alliance, and I think of names, I guess one name in particular, Al Austin. Was he kind of one of the founding fathers and driver behind the Westshore Alliance?
Absolutely. And the old Al Austin Center on Westshore Boulevard that I know Ally Capital Group and Franklin Street has done a great job taking over that property and really restoring it and kind of keeping that legacy going that Al Austin created in Westshore.
No, Andrews and their group has done a great job with it. I was a little bit of a skeptic. I was hoping that it'd be kind of raised and start over, just given the ages. And I teased Andrew initially. So if he happens to listen to this, Andrew, I apologize. But I was when First Watch first opened, and I was there literally within the first couple of weeks, and he walked in, and I was like, way to put lipstick on a pig, and to see just the transformation of what's happened there with both that restaurant and
Union New American right there too.
Yeah, amazing restaurant, and to see some of the tenants they've been able to pull in, and just the renovation of those buildings. I mean, nicely done, Andrew. So I apologize if you're listening to this. But so, what is your role as president of the Westshore Alliance?
So a lot of kind of the initiatives that we just talked about, leading our board, leading the organization. Working with, so it's kind of twofold. I'm going to talk about the membership side as well as the advocacy side of our organization. So on the advocacy side, as the president, I meet with our city officials, our county commissioners, the mayor, other partners within the district and the community to be able to push some of our advocacy and our efforts and our priorities forward. And then on the other side, on the membership, I come from a membership background. That's how I actually came up in the Alliance, which is a little different than my predecessors, actually. I joined as just a member looking to get involved in something in that area, and I got involved with our ambassador committee, ended up leading our ambassador committee, and then had the opportunity to join our board about 4 years ago. And then that kind of progressed me into the role I'm in today.
How did that come about? So I want to know that story because being a real estate banker a lot of my life, I can't say that I was an active member of the Westshore Alliance, but I had attended some of the committees on a fairly frequent basis, and so was connected, but again, just wasn't. I can't say that I was really active. But from what I recall, especially kind of on the transportation committee and development committee, they were developers, they were attorneys, they were brokers,
engineers. That still consists of a lot of our committees.
My attending was like, what are you doing here? You're a banker. But yet, as someone who was just interested in networking, you kind of jumped in and rose through the ranks and became president. That if I'm understanding the organization, that really doesn't happen.
Right.
So,
no.
Tell us about that.
And I am one of the first people to do it this way, and I hope that I've created now a lane for others to do it as well.
Trailblazer, Ashley Waters.
Trailblazer. I'm trying. And it was a little different because I put myself out there as more of a membership networking type of person initially, but it transformed into going to a couple of transportation meetings, going to a couple of master plan meetings. What are they doing here? And getting interested in it. And then that interest rose to join our board, get more involved. And as I started getting more involved with it, I actually got a passion for it. I never thought I'd be so passionate about transportation.
You're a policy nerd. You're a wonk.
Right.
You're a wonk now.
That is not my background, which is so different. But I love it because now, I mean, we're creating a legacy and trying to shape the future of this district, which a lot of, I feel like, organizations sometimes that you're a part of that you join just to network with, you might not feel that much of a connection. I feel like that's what a lot of our members feel, that tie to the Westshore Alliance, because yes, they're creating lasting relationships within the organization, but they also get to be a part of creating policy and code for the district, that we're literally talking about the inches a sidewalk has to be down Westshore Boulevard. Like, now when you walk down that sidewalk, you have a little bit more appreciation for it.
Right.
So creating that that vibe within our membership is something that I think is important. We just went through a whole membership restructure over the last year. So we went through simplifying our membership, looking at ways to create benefits for members if they want to lean in more, or if they just want to be there for the basic meet a few people and leave, or if they really do want to lean in and help us shape the future of the district.
Interesting. No, I think creating that kind of layered approach based on what people want to do, I think is brilliant. And just kind of, I mean, don't force them to do anything. Lean into what they really want to do, and find a lane, pick a lane to be in. And
what we've been able to, as a result, I feel like, uncover people that maybe have that background, but they hadn't really tapped into it as much before, and now they can do it hand in hand.
That's great. Win-win, right?
So, exactly.
So you are also just the 4th president of the female president?
I am.
That's kind of bizarre to think in 40 years.
It is. It is.
How do you feel about that? Is that an honor? Do you feel like pressure as a result of that?
I'm definitely proud to be the 4th female president in our 41-year history. I think I'm not the last, I'll tell you that. There's many.
Well, someone's coming behind you, right? That's
absolutely, yes. Jessica McCrory is an engineer, and she will be our president in 3 years. And not to distinguish there've been incredible male figures, men in our organization that have led this organization and created it. But I hope that I've created a sense of owners and CEOs of companies looking around saying, hey, this woman, this is completely qualified. She should sit on the board of the Westshore Alliance and represent us in this organization, because I see Ashley doing it. So I hope I'm creating that for the future.
I think you have.
I hope so. And just the fact that it's not that we're just sitting there as the token person. They're qualified. The women that sit on our board today, which it's incredible. This is the first year we've been able to create a 50-50 men to women ratio on our board. And the women that sit on it are incredible. But we complement, and we all work so well together. So
good.
It's exciting.
Well, I mean, that's most of the battle.
Yeah.
Is just
we
getting
work
everybody on
well,
the same page.
but we do have conflict, which is part of having a board that moves priorities forward. Is we do have some conflict. We do have some disagreements, but I think that's good because
it's healthy.
Absolutely.
Yes. No, you need to have healthy conflict.
Yes.
That's the only way anything gets done. And
for sure.
So good. So I've got some numbers here that let me know if I've got any of these wrong. But so Westshore Business District is the largest office market in Florida with 13 million square feet. Of course, it's home to the world's best airport, which you mentioned, Tampa International Airport. 6,500 businesses, 102,000 employees, and then 15,000 residents. Which that number it seems a little shocking, but now that I know it's all the way to Dale Mabry, I guess it makes sense now. But has the growth in the residents, because I know there's been a number of new apartment developments and some townhomes and condos there too, has that created any friction within the district?
It has, from the transportation aspect, which we can get into that as well too. And the amount of apartments that have come over the last, since even 2019, is amazing how much development has happened in that area, because we see a lot of the companies that are in the Westshore District, they want their employees to be able to have an option to live in that district. I know so many of our members that literally walk or bike to work because they live right there in Westshore. And what's interesting, though, is there's actually not a single apartment complex on Westshore Boulevard today. But
Fair point.
there are many planned for the future. We mentioned Andrew Wright. He's planning the project right in the old AAA site right there on Westshore Boulevard. That's going to create our first apartment complex on Westshore Boulevard, but also create it more of a mixed use with retail, restaurants, things like that being a part of it as well, too. And the friction. So, yes, transportation 41 years ago was one of our number one priorities. It's still the number one priority.
Well,
because
it is for the entire region, by the way. We haven't moved the needle forward very much. Yeah.
And because we have to, obviously, more people living in the district, not just coming in and leaving every day, we have to create more of a accessibility. So I'll go ahead and get into a little bit the Westshore Interchange that we mentioned before.
Yeah, please. Let's talk
So the
about
Westshore Interchange is going to create more of a street grid in the Westshore District. Meaning,
so we're getting rid of the loops, the access in.
So right now, the
ramps
main
there,
ways to get, if you think about getting in and out of Westshore, you go Westshore Boulevard, you go Lois, you go Del Mabry. Those are the main north-south ways into the district.
Right.
With the Westshore Interchange, it's going to open up Rio, Occident, and Trask, which Trask actually goes right there next to our building.
Yep.
And we'll open up, raise the interstate, open up. So we'll have 3 additional pathways to be able to get in and out of the district.
Okay.
So Rio and Occident, I mentioned, is going to create much more development opportunities over on the west side of our district.
I was going to ask, that frees up some land, right? So
there's so much land sitting over there that right now it's just hard to get in and out of that area.
Yes.
But I think in 5 to 7 years, once that is opened up, I think it's going to create so much more opportunity for development there. But transportation being a challenge, obviously that takes funding. So that has been one of the biggest advocacy efforts we have had, is pushing for different transportation funding sources.
Okay.
To be able to come not just into Westshore, but the whole area, like you mentioned. The whole community needs additional transportation funding in order.
Do you have a staff person that handles that, or is there? Do you work with I'll say consultant, but lobbyist to lobby at both Tallahassee and the federal level?
So our executive director, Michael Marino, is a transportation nerd at heart. I'll call him that. And he's a true historian, so he knows every single possible path within the Westshore District. So he lives, breathes, was actually our transportation director before he came on as our executive director. Mm-hmm. And he works a lot with those different organizations that you mentioned, as well as Kevin within our organization works a lot on our transportation initiatives to be able to put them through to the city. But also our board. Our board is very vocal with the city, with the county, to try to get some of these efforts pushed, and working with FDOT, Florida Department of Transportation, to try to work with them to try to get some of these, our priorities, stay our priorities and stay number one.
Well, I would say, yeah, speaking to the board with land use attorneys and engineers. And so I think, those are all the right people to have those conversations. Mm-hmm. So some of the other key initiatives besides transportation. So I'm going to kind of rattle through these, and you tell me kind of what comes to mind when you think of these and what the Westshore Alliance is doing. But so economic development.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Westshore Mall redevelopment when you talk about economic development. And even transportation that we just talked about, redoing Westshore Boulevard, all of those things create additional economic development in this district because it makes companies want to come to the district. Right now, we have companies saying they want Class A office space ready to go so they can move in the next few months.
Yeah, turnkey, right.
Right,
yep.
Exactly. So we have some additional projects in the works. The Westshore Mall redevelopment is going to be incredible, from the fact of it's going to have the office, it's going to have that whole mixed use, like similar to a Midtown, mm-hmm. I believe, from what I've seen, the drawings, but twice the size. Midtown is half the size the Westshore Mall footprint is right now. And the Westshore Mall footprint is the size of Water Street in downtown. Look what that's created. So if we can create something similar in Westshore, that would just be incredible for the economic development.
What I would hope too is I've seen the drawings, but I've not studied them, and I don't even know, like, from an aerial view, the layout. I think I've just seen the the facade of the buildings there, the elevations. Midtown is amazing once you're in. So it's an incredible diverse development, but it really feels as like an island by itself. I'm hoping that the the Westshore Mall redevelopment is more like a Water Street, where it's open, it's part of the city, and I understand when you're dealing with kind of infill parcels, it's a little harder to do that. And
right.
Like downtown, you've got the grid, right? In Westshore, it's been kind of sectioned off and is abutting the interstate and kind of the start of the Veterans there. But I'm hopeful it's integrated into the Westshore District, so it feels part of and not just
I think it will. And I also will tell you, we're trying to make Midtown more of that with some of the initiatives we have with walkability, bikeability, trying to create complete streets in the Westshore District, meaning you can drive a car on it, you can ride a bike on it safely, and you have a sidewalk to walk on. So creating more of that in Westshore will also, I think, help create that connectiveness throughout the whole district, that you can walk from your office building halfway down Westshore over to the Westshore Plaza redevelopment.
And that interchange is going to help with...
Exactly. And so those are, I actually had the opportunity a few months ago to do a bike tour on a Saturday morning. It could have been a Monday or Tuesday morning, would have been a little bit different. But even on a Saturday morning, there was still a lot of traffic and activity. And we did a bike around the district, and it was eye-opening.
How many cars did you almost get hit by?
A lot. And it was eye-opening because it just made that our advocacy efforts to create more of the bicycle lanes and create more of the intersections where people can cross safely and be able to get around our district safely.
It's like Frogger, I know, especially at those big people just don't look, and there's an education process. And I don't know if it's blinking lights or I will say I've always been an advocate for sidewalks, and I lived in Seminole Heights, where depending on where you're at and what year it was developed, there's some areas are sidewalks, some there's not. I live in a planned community now that has sidewalks everywhere. So if any of my neighbors are listening to this, you can walk on the sidewalks, you can run on the sidewalks. You don't have to do that in the middle of the street. Nobody uses the sidewalks. I'm like, why are the sidewalks here?
Right, exactly. Yes. And I mean, even you mentioned signals and things like that. Creating a safer district as well is just something else we've been hyper focused on. And I don't know if you even realize this, but getting into International Mall, there's a signal at every single intersection except for one, Manhattan and Boy Scout. We have been advocating for a street light there for years and years and years.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it took many fatalities to eventually get eyes to be opened. But now...
Is it happening?
It is happening. It is happening. And we are so excited that by this time next year, it should be in place. And
gosh, I didn't even realize it until you just mentioned it. Yeah.
I know. But again, more cars, more people in that area. We've got to create a safer district as well.
No, well, and congratulations on the advocacy efforts. So obviously,
thank you.
It's working. What about business support? What are you doing for the businesses in the Westshore Alliance?
Absolutely. So I'll take that twofold as well with our membership and our advocacy. So from advocacy, I feel like every business in the Westshore area should be a part of the Westshore Alliance, because we are truly advocating for improving, like we talked about, the
agree.
streets and the sidewalks.
Everybody hearing that, Westshore?
In front of their buildings, if they have their name on the building, we would hope they would be a member, because they would see the value in what we are trying to do for their business and for their clients that are coming into their business. And then on the membership side, we create that business support by creating... We're not just a networking group, like obviously we've said. We really try to create deep connections for our members and businesses that are joining, as far as putting them in front of the right people that they're looking to meet. That's whenever I meet somebody for the first time, the first thing I always ask them is, who are you looking to meet here? How can I help make an introduction for you? So creating that, but also, like I talked about, our new membership levels that we have.
I want to stop you there. I mean, you're using the tools as a banker, which has made you successful.
It goes hand in hand,
Yes, it
Owen.
does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So creating those, I hear people all the time saying, I've created these lasting relationships within the alliance that they feel like it's been able to translate into improving their business, their ROI. This came up the other day as far as, yes, it improves your ROI, but back to what I said before, being part of the organization, we're also advocating for public safety for your business, the roads in front of your business. So all of that, I feel like, creates that business support that the companies and our members need.
Absolutely. So we're talking about residents, we're talking about businesses. How about community engagement? Because that really encompasses everything.
Yes, absolutely.
What are you doing there?
So we work with many different partners throughout the community. Obviously, other organizations similar to ours, such as the Chamber, Downtown Partnerships. I mentioned FDOT when we were talking about the bikeability, walkability. Pedal promoters is one we work with to try to make sure that a lot of businesses that are coming into our district are bicycle friendly, meaning they have a spot for you to park your bike. Things like that are some of the partners that we work with. Last year, we actually formed a 501c3. The Alliance is a 501c6 nonprofit. Okay. So we formed a C3 nonprofit foundation that essentially
you can get grants and
and the focus of the foundation is primarily public art. So we've been working with, for instance, we did a mural on the side of the McDonald Training Center in the Westshore District to celebrate their founder and creating
Ronald
more.
McDonald. I'm kidding.
Different.
I understand.
Different.
I'm joking.
It was only a few years ago that I actually realized that, but now I do. So I try to educate people on that as well. And just creating that public art in the district makes it a more beautiful district too, but also a safer district. Certain intersections, we're looking.
That's interesting. Talk about that art and safety.
Yes.
I haven't.
So this is something as a transportation expert.
You are, yes. You're wonk.
Is that if you put public art on, for instance, like a four-way stop or in an intersection, it helps slow the cars down, believe it or not.
But people aren't distracted by the art, which then results in more accidents?
You would think that. No. You would think that. The findings...
Counterintuitive.
Right. Show the opposite, though. So we've been trying to do more of that throughout the district, and that's what the foundation is really focused on, as well as creating different banners and signage. If you've seen the DoubleTree Hotel that came down a few months ago.
I have not seen it because it's gone. Yes, but yes.
The site.
Right.
The site that is there now is, for instance, we're hoping to do a wrap around that site because it's going to be a construction staging area for the next few years. So just things like that as we do have a lot of development and construction happening, how can we make it look a little nicer for those of us that are working through that and living through that in our district?
Can I challenge you a little bit on the artwork, at least when it comes to public safety? I have no doubt that the information is good on public safety, but I think of, now we're slowing everybody down, which is great for safety. Mm-hmm. The other side of that is, now we're creating inefficiencies, mm-hmm. right? So we're moving people through less efficiently. Mm-hmm.
We're primarily doing it in areas that need cars slow down, where we're trying to at least get them to the speed limit.
Okay.
If you think about it that way, we don't want people zooming down Westshore, zooming around corners that take a second, sit at a stop sign. But keep going forward. We're not trying to keep the efficiency, slow that down in any way. We're trying to keep everybody moving forward, but at a safe speed.
Okay, I got you. So you'd mentioned the DoubleTree site. So
yes, let's talk about that.
Well, yes. So we've got a whole transportation hub that is rumored to be coming at some point in time. Can you give us an update on what the timeline is on that? When it's coming? What it's going to look like when it's completed?
Let me look at my crystal ball here. I'll tell you what we've been advocating, what we want to have happen there, and what our partners that we've been working with, the goal is for that site. So one thing that we've got to be able to do is transit in Tampa Bay. We talking about it till we're blue in the face. get the amazing people mover that Tampa International Airport has. Get that going down Westshore Boulevard and connect to that site right there.
Okay.
So be able to get people directly to the airport from that intermodal site is what we're calling it, right there on Cypress. And eventually, it should be a way to also connect to downtown. Dare I say Brightline? Hopefully be able to get Brightline, if not to that side, at least connect it in some way. The way that they're doing with the Westshore Interchange is going to create an opportunity in the median for some type of transit to happen.
Okay.
We've just got to pull together as a community to be able to get it here and actually funnel the transportation dollars to make it happen.
What is the Westshore Alliance stance on a regional mobility entity?
Yep. So we had
transit entity.
We had actually a forum at one of our transportation meetings about last year at this time, and we talked about it. And we had different representatives in the room talking through it. We definitely think it would be a good for the region as far as collectively coming together to be able to get some of these larger grants and fundings to Tampa Bay. So we think it would be a good for the community and good for the district.
Okay. So looking forward out 5 years, 10 years, what is the Westshore Alliance? What do you envision the Westshore Business District being?
Well, number one, Westshore Boulevard. I hope it is just as grand as Ashley Drive is in downtown Tampa. That is really something we are pushing for because that's truly the gateway to the city from the airport. Whether it's the interstate or coming down Westshore Boulevard, that's people's first look at us. And being able to improve the Westshore Boulevard will create more of that economic development we talked about with more companies to come to the Westshore District, come to Tampa, move headquarters here. The accessibility to the airport in Westshore is incredible. So there's that opportunity there. So I think improving Westshore Boulevard, all the streets surrounding it, but also just some of the other things we talked about as far as the Westshore Plaza redevelopment. I don't think it's going to be done in 5 years, but I think it's going to be well underway in 5 years. And thinking through the Westshore Interchange, that's going to be incredible. One other thing that we did not talk about that I want to mention, we talked about complete streets, but we didn't talk about specifically Gray Street. Gray Street is a street that we're looking to be able to make that a drivable, walkable, bikeable, complete street from the bay over at Westshore to downtown to connect it to the Riverwalk. So you can be on the Riverwalk in downtown and come all the way through Westshore, down Gray Street, and be able to get to the Courtney Campbell Causeway. So that's something that we're working on. Is how incredible
So that's
going to
be the connection to the Riverwalk.
Yep.
I at one point in time saw a plan that kind of ran it up along the interstate, but so this would kind of come up on Gray.
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we've been working on that for a while now, and it's been one of our priorities. And so different projects like that I get excited about, that I think it's going to ease congestion for everybody and just make life easier for living, for working, and playing in the Westshore District.
Live, work, and play.
Yes.
I think we should put a bow on it right there. But anything else you want to add, Ashley?
No, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Owen.
Well, thank you for being a trailblazer for other women in the Westshore business community, as well as just generally in business. And congratulations on officially becoming a policy wonk. Thanks for coming on Money Market.
Appreciate it.
If you have a question or future show idea or would like to be a sponsor, you can send us a message at moneymarket@bankoftampa.com. You can find us on LinkedIn, X, Facebook, and on Instagram at Bank of Tampa, and online at bankoftampa.com. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you around in the Money Market.